as I see it, going back to history, filibusters have become much easier. Before you had the speaking filibusters where you had to be on the floor. You had to be there sometimes 2, 3 days. It was
Right.
famous, the ones, the Southern senators, when they filibustered civil rights movement, they were
Right.
literally there. But now it's not like that anymore. Now you sort of announce it and you don't have to be on the Senate well anymore, right?
You're
Speak.
absolutely correct. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The image that most people have, if you Google an old movie, Mr. Smith Goes to
that's
Washington.
right. That's,
That's right.
yeah.
And you have the,
Cary Grant? Yeah,
I think it's Cary Grant if I remember
yeah,
correctly,
yeah.
and he's been talking so long, he's hoarse. He can't even get his voice out anymore. And in the old, and that was pretty accurate. In the old days, um, you couldn't take bathroom breaks or anything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And so
Yeah.
there's we won't go into the legendary stories about what people wore during the filibuster. But you're
Oh,
right, you physically had to be there. And also another thing you couldn't do. You couldn't lean on something. You couldn't prop yourself up by, let's say, putting your hand on a table or something. You had to be fully erect, standing up doing
wow.
the filibuster. Now you merely have to threaten and say, I'm going to filibuster it. And that acts as a way of basically stopping
Yeah.
the debate on that legislation.
You
Now, the
know,
old fashioned, I was going to say, the old fashioned filibusters stopped everything, though. They stopped all the movement on the floor for legislating. On one level, these filibusters now are a little bit more narrow, but still, it
wait,
doesn't.
explain that. I don't appreciate the difference. What do you mean they're
Okay,
more narrow?
okay, okay. The old filibusters would stop all the work in the Senate,
Okay,
everything,
yeah, yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Now you can filibuster a particular piece of legislation.
Oh, so, sort of like a topic-based, subject-based filibuster.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, I see. I see. That's interesting. I did not appreciate that difference. And one of
Yeah.
the things from a political perspective, I mean, you explained the physical strain on the filibustering senator, but from a political perspective, people would, well, back then, newspapers, they would read about it, I guess, more than see you on TV. But you had to politically put yourself out there by essentially stopping everything that the Senate does. Now, the political costs of filibusters are arguably a little bit less because you're not in front of people on C-SPAN for 3 days stopping the nation's business.
You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Although we'll tell a kind of a funny story though about one filibuster a few years ago, and I can't even remember what the topic was, but Senator Ted Cruz from Texas decided to filibuster, and he actually decided to do a real filibuster
Oh,
by
wow. Okay.
which is really quite rare to actually. So, and it's on C-SPAN, by the way. And it got to be evening, and he generally reads his children a bedtime story, before they go to bed, like
Yeah,
many
yeah,
parents.
yeah.
And so part of his filibuster was reading Green Eggs and Ham from the floor of the House of Representatives. And whatever you may think of Ted Cruz, good, bad, ugly, in between, uh, it was kind of humorous to watch because some of the old filibusters, they would do things like that. They would read from the Bible or they would read the Constitution,
Or a
because
cookbook.
or a cookbook. Yeah, you
Yeah.
didn't actually have to keep talking about the legislation, as long as you kept talking or something like that. So America heard Green Eggs and Ham
I love it.
at a young child's bedtime.
I will have to Google that, go on YouTube. One final question here. I told you I have a comment and a question, so here's
Right.
the question.